finish up for this year. That should be finished up by the end of this month. That's when our time frame runs out. Equipment wise, everything seems to be, on target, other than just normal everyday glitches. Talking about staffing, going back to staffing, myself and the mayor met today and we talked about, the coordinator for our retention and recruiting officer. And we felt like he wanted to move forward with our other candidate. And did you get a chance to talk to him today?
I have not spoken to him.
So we're looking at calling one of those back in, Mr. Shane Phillips from Childersburg Fire. As you know, he was one of the lead applicants when we looked at it. And I talked to him today on the phone and he seemed very interested in it. And we're going to get him back in and discuss that. Maybe we can get him on staff and move forward with that grant. So I know that's.
I'm counting on it. That's-
You're kidding, I know, and I know it's been one of those things that have been, it's been great, but it's been disheartening, because every time we try to do something, something else gets in the way. But maybe with this, we can move forward. We did pick up a new applicant on the fire department already, so, I don't know if he came by and got his packet today, he did, so he got his employee packet, so we've got one on staff, for next week, so, you know, maybe piece by piece, we're moving along. So, other than that, everything's just clicking, so.
So, the new volunteer that we have on staff
Yes.
was one of the top candidates for this recruiting and retention
Correct.
coordinator. But he had taken another full-time job and he self-eliminated himself. We went with another candidate mainly because we felt like he had the most time since he had recently retired. But Shane is the fire chief in Childersburg, highly experienced, and was another strong candidate. So I think we kind of got the best of both worlds here, because we've got the new volunteer who's come on, who was one of our strong candidates for this position, plus Shane, and I think we'll be able to
Maybe
use those
between
two
us both,
together.
we can tweak and they can give each other ideas and we can move forward, so maybe we get the most what we can get out of it, so.
Two questions.
Yes, sir?
Does this recruiting coordinator have to be on a certain, does he have to be in his spot for 30 days to open up that grant funding? With the other guy, were you able to open up that grant funding in the short time he was here? Does he have to be on like 30 days or something to get it?
I don't think so. We opened up the grant funding when he took the position, correct?
Well, the grant's was
And
awarded.
it's really been open
It's
all
been
the time.
Yeah, I just didn't know if he, but I think to get access to the funds, I guess.
We haven't.
Okay.
He didn't, I mean, he did some preliminary stuff, but he didn't bill any hours.
Okay.
No, we never,
So
never
we
did
didn't see
anything.
any of it.
Yeah, I didn't know if he had to be like on probationary in that period before.
No. No.
The other question, how old do you have to be involved in the fire department?
Well, two things. We require 19 years of age to operate the equipment for driving to be a firefighter through our insurance. They request that it's 21. So I know that sounds crazy, because we've had that discussion about you being in the military at what age, but anyway, 21 is the age limit for driving apparatus. Not to say that you're on the fire department, you don't have to drive apparatus. There's plenty of other jobs you can do when you drive apparatus, okay? But 19 is the age.
So on the driving, you could be younger,
You
but
could.
the insurance is more costly for that. And so if we don't have to have younger.
And if we're
drivers,
selective, then we're saving ourselves money.
Yeah.
So
So,
And I guess that's standard throughout the state, right? Yeah.
I would assume that'd be standard.
you could have even younger volunteers than
Yes.
19, that's our
And we have junior program, we had a junior program in place years ago that was, 16, 17. So, in high school age. Just right now, we don't have anybody that's currently in that program, and we don't have an instructor to oversee that program, so that's why it's not active.
So if there was their junior, senior in high school that want to be a volunteer fireman, he would be a volunteer fireman. You just
There's
find
a
something
spot
else
for a junior trainee up until they reach that age, they're limited to the things that they can actually do, but yes, we have positions for that.
All right.
Any other questions for Chief? Thanks, John.
All right, thank you.
Okay, library, Jennifer?
All right, so, Everything's going well, no issues as far as safety, budget is good. We did have some shifting of staffing. One of my staff members is looking at retiring, so we're doing some shifting to make sure that, that she goes out and someone takes her place, and then, we are hiring for another part-timer as that person retires. So, you know, it's a night shift and weekend, but you know, it's good. But, we had an estimate of, 1,257 visitors for the month of January. We provided about $38,918 worth of services in January. That is down from last year. I think because of holidays and snow days and things like that, it just kind of dropped off a little bit. Teen Art Night went well. We had 5 participants and they had a blast. They loved pasting or gluing pipe cleaners and, you know, all kinds of stuff to their picture. But we had some good projects. Summer reading is in the planning stages right now. I know that seems far out, but you know, sometimes you gotta plan these things long in advance. And so we are already gearing up for summer reading. So.
Any questions for Jennifer? Okay. Environmental Services, Dale?
Everything's going pretty good. We're still having some issues at the therapeutic center, so we're fixing to start billing them. We've given them ample time to get with their engineer to get the situation resolved. So I'm gonna get with Charlene, and usually we document it with the pictures, what's coming out of the pump, and then we invoice them for the equipment and the guy's time. So we're gonna start working on that this week. And then contractors, they've been pouring the clarifiers, as you can see in the pictures, on one side of the wastewater treatment plant. So the left side, if you look at it, all that's rebar down in the bottom. That's going to be the new basins. All that'll be poured out of concrete. So we'll get this unit in operation first, and then we'll switch over and start operating it and take the other one out of service and do the exact same thing. So all that's moving along pretty well. So
Do I remember that the therapeutic center was putting in one of those traps or something?
they have
Paying for their own thing or something?
they've got like a septic tank outside to catch that stuff, but it still overflows in our sewer.
I'm thinking of a flock camera. They're paying their own flock camera or something. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And when you say start the building, when will that start, you said?
We're gonna, as soon as my guys get called out on a call for the pump station, we'll document all that and get with Charlene and just send them an invoice.
And you've notified them that that was
We've
gonna happen.
got emails after emails.
You know, the same thing with the jail, we try to work with them,
Mhm.
and if they solve, you know, alleviate the problem, we don't bill them. But this has just been going on a long time at the therapeutic education facility. Okay, any questions for Dale?
Did you hire your guy? Or you still got a,
Grade 2.
oh, still, I see.
Yeah, we're still advertising for a grade 2 operator. We've actually got 2 full-time employees and 1 part-time employee.
Any other questions for Dale? Okay. Community Affairs and Senior Services.
All right, so Cowboy Day is February 22nd coming up. Should be a really fun day. We are working on Liberty Day. All of those vendor applications went up on the website today, so those should start coming in pretty fast. The Senior Center served 1,150 meals in January, and we have just started the preliminary work for the patio project, and that's the grant that we got from Shelby County. So we'll start pulling those permits and getting that moving. So
Do you have a sketch of that or anything?
they should have one. It is, Eagle Construction, who
Okay.
did all of that, so they're the ones
See if you can get with
Yeah.
Rob or whoever
and get like a little sketch.
I'd like to see that sketch.
Yeah. So, and then in the Grand Hall, there are tons of events in February, lots and lots of stuff, for February, but everything's going pretty well. So.
Okay, any questions for Al? No, thank you. Well, we'll move on to board reports. I know we have a beautification board report.
Yes, we do. We're having Arbor Day, February the 15th. We will have a lot of seedlings to give out, and that will begin at 9 to 12. And last year we ran out early, so come early. We are going to decorate for Cowboy Day Saturday, so the city will be decorated with that for that. We're planning on doing a garden tour in June. So if anybody's interested in their backyard or whatever, if they have a garden they'd like to share, we would love to have you do that so we can do a little tour like the Christmas tour of homes, but it's going to be for the gardens. And then we have our Easter Bunny Tea coming up on April 5th, and we're going to have that up on the website soon so that everybody can buy their tickets. So that's what's going on for us. Oh, we are going to get we're planning on getting a picnic bench to put out at the end of the road by the pickleball courts so that people have a place to sit and hang out while they're waiting on the court or whatever. So, that's it.
I was gonna ask a question and it went. You
I interrupted
spoke the
you.
last,
Yep.
the last thing, so it must not have been very important. Oh, I was just gonna ask you, on your garden tour, do you have any participants or who've expressed interest thus far? Or?
Yes, we have 2 that have. So, we'll be calling Kathy because her backyard's beautiful. So, yeah.
So,
So, you might as well get ready to do some work.
A lot of work coming.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah.
you too.
Any other boards? Okay. All right, so next thing on the agenda is a proclamation for the 50th anniversary of the Columbiana, the First Baptist Church kindergarten. So,
Wow,
you
doesn't
guys
seem
here
that
to
long.
talk about, can you tell us a little bit before we get into the proclamation?
We're about to celebrate our 50th year.
Okay. All right.
No,
Well-
so it's a big deal. We've the kindergarten itself has been celebrating. We started in the fall when we started school. We've done one activity per month to celebrate the 50th year. Like for instance, we had, since it started in 1975, we dressed like the 70s one day, and we did a disco dance party with the kids, and then one day we dressed like the 50s. Since it's the 50th. And this month we are actually having on Sunday, February 23rd, at First Baptist Church, they are recognizing the 50th anniversary. And we have, the kids will sing in the church service. We'll acknowledge past directors who are still with us and able to be there on that day. So it's going to be a big celebration. So we appreciate you all recognizing that.
Well, you know, my older kids were military brats, so they didn't go to kindergarten or school here. One year when I spent a year in Iceland, Kathy and the kids came home, and the 2 oldest ones did spend some time in the public schools here. But our youngest actually did go to preschool at the First Baptist Kindergarten in the mid-90s. And Kathy is spending some time with him and his wife in Atlanta. And I spoke to him last night and asked him if he remembered who his pre-kindergarten teacher was. And it was Jackie Joyner.
Oh.
She left us far too soon.
Mm-hmm.
But he knew, it amazed me, he knew who she was, he knew who his kindergarten teacher was at Elvin Hill, and he knew who his first grade teacher was. It's like, and Kathy and I both had forgotten them all, so except for Jackie. Okay, so I'm not gonna read all the whereases and whatnot on this proclamation, but I am gonna kind of go through this. So, the First Baptist Church started the kindergarten under the direction of Reverend Charlotte Stroud in '75. I met Kathy in '71, and our first date was a Sunday night attendance at one of Brother Stroud's services at the church in 1971. And then on September 3rd of that year, the Columbiana Baptist Kindergarten opened its doors for the first time. Enrollment grew throughout the year to 42 kids. They provide classrooms for kids from ages 3 months to 5 years. 90 children are now enrolled in 2025. Obviously, it's a big deal in shaping young minds and character. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this and try to tie the two together in my mayor's report when I tie it to another subject that I wanted to bring up. But obviously, it's designed to meet the educational needs and the spiritual needs of children in the church and the community. They've continued to faithfully teach and share the love of Christ over these 50 years. They continue to work together in unity under Mike Miller. And so I will read the last thing. So now, therefore, I, David Mitchell, Mayor of the City of Columbiana, do hereby proclaim Sunday, February 23rd, 2025, as Columbiana Baptist Kindergarten 50th Anniversary Day in the City of Columbiana, and extend my sincere congratulations to Columbiana Baptist Kindergarten for being such an important part of our community for 50 years. So it is proclaimed, and I am going to sign the proclamation. And we'll get a picture here at the end of the meeting. Okay.
Didn't
All right.
Mr.
Congratulations,
Rush
guys. Appreciate
have
everything
something
you
to do
do.
with that? Didn't Mr. Rush have something to do with starting this?
Miranda Rush was one of the first teachers and directors.
Okay.
So, and we're hoping she's gonna be on there that day.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Any other city business anybody wants to bring up?
No, I got an email, I was trying to forward to Charlene the other day, I don't know if y'all got it or not, talking about, and this is something I was concerned with on the CDBG grant funds, and I didn't know if that was it didn't ever come into play, but I was scared that the grant funding was gonna be withheld at a federal or state level. Is that something we're concerned about? I mean, I know we got CDBG stuff now, but I thought that email was very timely, because it was a concern that I had, because I was scared we wouldn't get that fund, but is that something that?
Because that's already been appropriated to the county from the federal government, so we'll get our money from the county after we do the project.
But there's been a lot of conversation about.
Well, yeah,
grant funding
and I've been worried about it, and I've reached out to our legislative representatives at the federal level. And I've reached out to ADEM because our sewer project that Dale was reaching, the grant portion of that is ARPA funds, which we already have our ARPA funds, the state already has their ARPA funds. But what's a big concern is we've got $1.5 million worth of invoices to be paid to that contractor, and we've been waiting for the funds from the state for many months, and I don't know why they haven't released them. So I reached out, ADEM got back to me, said, yep, state's got the money, but I don't know why it's taken so long to get the money. And I know our contractor's not gonna work much longer if he's got all that money sitting out there. Now, in fairness, we just got $800,000 that we just submitted in the last couple of days. So the $700,000 of the total 1.5 is what's been outstanding for a few months. And I understand there are other municipalities who are waiting for those funds. So I don't know if maybe somehow, I just don't know.
Yeah.
So I spoke to Corley Ellis yesterday and asked for his help to so I sent some inquiries to ADM to try to find out when they're gonna release those funds, and I said, let me give it a few days, and then they're getting ready to start the legislative session today, I think, and, he's gonna rattle some cages.
Yeah, I didn't even know if the email was credible, but it's worth the thought. I wonder in the event something like that, so say for instance, we get a grant,
Mhm.
we match it, we're awarded the grant,
Mhm.
and something happens where state, local, or federal government says, we're not gonna pay you this money. Is there an insurance policy on those type of, I mean, I think it's worthy of
Not
conversation.
really, and that's why I'm concerned
Yeah.
about that. Now, the ARPA funds that we've gotten for the storm drainage, stuff, that money's in the bank.
Yeah,
We received those funds in 21 and 22, and so.
because surely they wouldn't hold, well,
That's why I don't understand
Yeah.
what's going on with the state funds. I think it's just a,
Yeah.
a bureaucracy, administrative bureaucracy thing. Now, the SRF loan associated with that is bipartisan infrastructure law funds, and it was based out of a 2024 appropriation. And here's what I think. I've reached out to several people and asked questions to see if they're right. Even though the money's been appropriated and been obligated, the various agencies can determine when to dole it out. And so we got about another 1.3 million on the grant, okay? And so once we go through that and we get into the loan, it's possible this freeze, where they're saying, hey, we're just stopping things until we sort out, what the money's going for and everything. It is possible it could affect the SRF loan, but I'm hoping not. So.
yeah, I don't know, that email just sort of perked my ears up, I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, well, the whole thing when it first came out, I mean, the OMB thing that came out, the memo, I understand everybody getting upset. It was kind of confusing. And then the president or the administration rescinded that memo, but they said, but the freeze is still on. Well, that's more confusing to me. So,
As a matter of fact, when I got the initial email, there was a follow-up email to it that said, well, maybe we got a little ahead of her.
any other discussion? Anybody want to bring up? Okay. All right, so the mayor's report. So we submitted our raise grant application on the 29th. So the amount we asked for was the full amount of $25 million. In fact, when we went through all of the estimating, we actually came up with a cost estimate of over $26 million. And we started figuring out what can we take out, what can we whittle away and make this still a decent project. And it really wasn't a lot. Now, to the credit of our grant writer, there is a provision that allows us to charge to the grant our overhead expenses from the city associated with grant administration, support work that Dale would do, support that Alan would do, interacting with the engineers and whatnot, and the oversight and the permitting and all the things that has to be done there. We can charge that to the grant. And if we had a published overhead rate, which we don't as a city, we would have to charge that rate. In the absence of that, they allowed us to charge a de minimis overhead fee, which turned out to be 15%. And that came out to, I think, somewhere around $3.2 million. And that's what took us over the $26 million. So we knocked off a little over $1 million, and we will be able to get us under the 25. We are able to claim that $1 million as a match, so and without having to put any money out of our pocket, and we will be able to charge $2.2 million of our overhead to the grant and get reimbursed for that. So that turned out to be a pretty good deal. Now here's the thing that worries me about it, again going back to the grant freeze and everything. When the RAISE grant came out, the funding for 2025, the pool of funding was $1.5 billion. The maximum grant for urban communities was $100 million. The max for rural communities like Columbiana was $25 million. The current administration cut that $1.5 million of funds down to $150 million. So we're asking for 25 million out of 150, but by the time that information came out, it was too late. I mean, the grant was ready to be submitted. Senator Tuberville's office has sent out some stuff asking for information so he could support, and he did do us a great letter of support, as did Congressman Palmer, Senator Britt. Governor Ivey wrote just a fantastic letter. I'm sure she didn't write it, but whoever did really wrote a good one for her to sign. But anyway, Tuberville's really wanting to lobby for getting the funds for cities and towns in Alabama. So I'm going to be working with his staff to do whatever we can to lobby for that project. So anyway, looking forward to that, what comes out of that around the June timeframe. Okay, so yesterday, Ricky was there. There was Attorney General Steve Marshall was at Elvin Hill Elementary School to provide the 2024 Safe Schools Initiative Award to Elvin Hill. So great job by the folks at Elvin Hill, our police department, all the other law enforcement agencies that support this. Had really good recognition of our SROs and our SRO programs. So Chief, congratulations. Lieutenant Knighton, who basically runs that program, all the work that she's done on this thing. And I thought it was interesting that of the 6 schools in the state who received this award and this recognition, Columbiana's application received a rating of 100%. So it was perfect. I'm not sure what he said. I don't think anybody else was 100%. So he said, now it's hard to beat perfection, but you probably ought to stand a good chance of getting this again next year. So congratulations to Elvin Hill. I'm really proud of all those kids and everything. So going back about tying these things together. So when I looked at those kids, and again, I started thinking about that time when my kids, because when I was in Iceland, my daughter did go to Elvin Hill. Our son, who went to preschool at First Baptist, he started the first grade at Elvin Hill. Peg was the principal for both of them in those days. So, and you look at it, all those kids, and it's all about safety and, the development of those kids. Kids spend so much of their life and so much of their development is influenced by school teachers, the folks at the church, at the kindergarten, and the preschool, and then those kids are the ones that are our future. They're the most precious thing that we have, and so we certainly want to keep them safe, and we want to make sure that they are properly mentored, and I think we've got a great team there at Elvin Hill. And even congratulations to you, Ashley. I know you had a lot to do with that.
I do. It's interesting. I was talking to some people yesterday. I'm surprised, Chief, that a grant like this doesn't come with like a monetary type of grant, where if you win the grant, here's X amount of money you can put towards safety of the school or something like that. I was talking to somebody there. It'd be nice if
It would be nice,
if like cameras or whatever.
Yeah.
That'd be done really nice. It's good.
Yeah, good deal. Okay, so later this month, Shelby County Mayor's Association will be meeting in Chelsea. I think this will be the last time that Tony Picklesheimer gets to host that particular meeting. And then on February 19th, we have the State of Our Communities Luncheon, where all the mayors in Shelby County will come and talk about the state of the community. That's at the Pelham Civic Complex. I kind of gave an overview of that in last month's Mayor's Monthly video that's on the website and on Facebook, so if people don't have an opportunity to make it to that. We do have a table for 6, so, department head, city council, I encourage you to go to that. It's pretty interesting, not necessarily hear what I have to say about Columbiana, but it's interesting to hear what the issues and concerns are with the other municipalities and kind of how we stack up with them.
For some reason I thought that was tomorrow.
I hope not, because I'm late if it is. And then, this sounds like a broken record, 2023 audit is wrapping up. Charlene and I actually spoke to our lead auditor yesterday, and I honestly think it is wrapping up. We had a couple of, they had to go through, since it's the first time they've done our audit, a review with their partners, and they had a couple of recommendations for some minor changes. We discussed those with them. And so I'm hoping that they'll be here to go over the audit with us at our next council meeting. So I think we're there. He said he was gonna try to get us the audit report, for us to look over the complete report within, if not the end of this week, early next week, so. Okay, any questions for me? All right. Announcements, Alan?
Alright, Saturday, the 15th is the Beautification Board's tree giveaway at Old Mill Square Park. And then the 22nd is Cowboy Day.
Okay. Questions? All right. Well, anybody have any other comments that they would like to share with us?
I got one before we go.
Okay.
Coach Phillips and his, basketball team messed around and won a game last night in the county, in the, area tournament, so they're going to the playoffs, right?
That's
They play
correct.
for the
Friday
championship.
night.
They play for the championship tomorrow, so.
Well, I think you won it pretty convincingly, didn't you?
Well, that's-
Second shot.
It was 2 points.
Oh, I guess I must have been looking at the old
Yeah.
article.
No, we scored with about 5 seconds to go
Okay.
and, pulled it out. They had beaten us twice this year.
If the minimum wasn't good enough, it wouldn't be the
Who
minimum.
was it?
Briarwood, what time?
6 o'clock tomorrow night
All right,
At
congratulations.
home or at Briarwood?
at Briarwood.
Any other comments? Okay. If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.